And we're live. And I can't
Yay!
show my name. Hi, everybody. I am Krista. Welcome to Why Am I Yelling Live? It is yet another one of my fun little shows where I get to highlight people who inspire me, who are doing great things out there in the world and are sharing their mission. And I'm super excited today because I've kind of been following you around, Lori Joy. Welcome to Lori Joy. Lori Joy is the founder of the Mojo Mama. She is a tell it like it is mom entrepreneur with a passion for coaching, empowering, and stirring moms to be and do more. Sometimes you may not like what she has to say, but she'll guarantee you need to hear it. Her passion is inspiring and empowering mamas of all ages, from all walks of life, from everywhere on the planet, to turn their shit show into their mojo and live a life they deserve and more. So welcome to the show. We're very excited to have you.
Thank you, Krista. Thanks, everyone, for watching and who's here with us.
Hi, everybody. Let us know that you're here.
This is wonderful.
So I was just saying to Lori before we started the show that I always start with my one question and then we go from there. So I want to know, question one is always, how and why did you get to this place and decide to become a mom entrepreneur to help other moms find their mojo? What's your story?
Give it to me, she says. Give it to me with your New York accent. I love it. All right, Krista. Well, let me first tell you that I am just a regular mom entrepreneur, just like everybody else out here. I'm nothing fantastic. I was telling Krista I'm in Northern Ontario, Canada. We're going through an ice storm here today.
That's insanity. Oh, by the way.
People are skating down the streets. Like, let's not even go there. Okay. So
I want to see a picture of that.
Oh, I'll send you a video.
Okay.
There's nothing really crazy about me other than I decided one day that enough was enough. And I think it depends on the people. It depends on where you are. It depends on what's happening in your life. But I think at some point we all have that moment where we're thinking, is this really it?
Yep.
Is this all it's cracked up to be?
Yeah.
And I think what happens with moms is when you start to have that thought, that mom guilt comes in because you should be so happy and fulfilled. You have your children, you have your health, they have their health if you're lucky enough, and everybody is there. And you're thinking, okay, stop thinking like that, but it's bad. So I'll tell you what happened. I just shared this with my moms the other day, but so sorry if this is a repeater for anybody. Suck it up, Buttercup. All right. So what happened was I was out. I have a 7-year-old son, and my husband and I were visiting my parents up here in Canada. We call it a camp. Other people call it a cottage. So we were visiting the cottage. My husband and son were walking ahead of me. They were holding hands, and he was 2 years old at the time, and it was like a Kodak moment of sorts that I snapped the picture. Yeah. Gorgeous. Put it in the album. Talk about it later. Anyway, I went home that night and I just happened to be scrolling through my phone when I noticed an alarming trend that I wasn't in any of the pictures with my son. And we are all our own worst critic.
Of course.
And I would rather sit behind the camera than in front of it. And I realized that for the first 2 years of my son's life, there is no pictorial record of his mother. So at that moment, you can imagine it was like, Oprah says the ugly cry. Right. Yeah. You're a mess. And because you can't get that time back, you can't get those moments back. And I thought, how silly of me, because I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I had gained baby weight with like everybody else had, and I was still hanging on to it 2 years later. That was my story, Krista, and I was sticking to it. Okay. And so I just decided that enough was enough. And I was at that moment that I was like, I have to change something. And the easiest thing for me to change at the time and quickest was to shrink my ass. So hashtag that, okay? And so I thought, well, this is it. If I don't want to be in front of the camera because I'm ashamed of the way I look, I'm going to shrink my ass. And this led me on this journey to get where I am today. Now, let me tell you, I've always had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always been an outside the box thinker. And it wasn't until I actually found my own self in turning my own shit show into my mojo that I found and realized that this is what needed to happen.
Right.
So I did that. And then a lot of mothers were saying, what happened? What are you doing? You look so great. Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da. And I thought, how selfish of me not to share this with other women. It took me 5 years to go through this process, and I
Wow. Okay.
expedite it for my mom. So I did personal development. I, started to put myself on the calendar, which
Yeah.
moms need to do.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. And it didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't easy. And I had coaches, and I went, like I said, to events, and I did all of this investing in myself.
Yep.
And at the other side, when I got out of it and I changed and I, got out of that funk, I thought, I need to share this with moms. And so I expedite this whole process that I went through because I've been there. I've done exactly what most moms are doing or thinking or feeling.
Sure.
And I came out on the other side. And instead of taking 5 years and how many thousands of dollars it took me through personal development, we cut it to the quick. We're
going to do it in 60 days. Right.
Right. And so the Mama Mojo was born. And like you said in my intro, what happens here at the Mama Mojo is it's all about a movement. It's all about moving. I love alliteration. I'm an English teacher by trade. So the whole Mama Mojo movement. And I want to literally move millions of mamas to wake the hell up.
Yeah.
Because this not putting yourself on the calendar, on the forefront, it's bullshit and it needs to stop.
I agree. And I love how I feel like it's so funny because when I'm doing my research and I look for people well in advance, and it's like, Jackie, we need to get Lori Joy on because I really like what she has to say. And I feel like not a lot of people are out there. I know everybody thinks they're speaking their truth, but you got to walk the walk and talk the talk. And I have been known to offend people on occasion because whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth. Like just yesterday in some random mom Facebook group, I offended somebody. And I was like, listen, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not the kind of person who pre-apologizes for my kids. It was a whole pre-apologetic, like, would you get on a plane and hand the guy next to you? And I'm sorry, you're sitting next to my kid. No, I'm not handing somebody a note with a thing of mints with a note that says, I'm sorry that you get to sit next to my toddler on this plane. You're crazy. I'm not going to know. It was a whole conversation. So I was like, and she was like, well, that's called empathy. I'm like, no, it's not. I can be empathetic all day long. I am not going to be pre-apologetic for my children. Does the guy who sits next to you with open mouth snores the whole time you're on the plane apologize for that?
No doubt.
I don't think he does.
Maybe your toddler shouldn't be on the plane if they can't sit and be quiet. Let's talk about that.
Well, and there's that. But then there's also kids are kids. And sometimes they have moments, and it's okay. And it doesn't matter if it happens on a plane or in your backyard. It is what it is. We've all been children. And most of the adults that I know on planes these days are worse than the kids. So I was on a plane, I've been on planes for the last 2 weeks. Enough is enough. So I offended.
You would do that. Yeah. No.
I offended this person, and I don't know who this person is. I will never meet her in real life. But I was like, wow, okay, this happens. And, for me, I feel like I love the word mission because I think we're all on our own mission for whatever it is that our purpose is.
Yeah.
And the message we want to get out. And I think that I just love the word. Me too. I love movement, mojo, mission. I love all the alliterations of that because I think it's women. We forget to take care of ourselves first. And it's really very, very important. And I stress it in all the stuff that I write. I stress it on a lot of the times in the things that I say. And I know that there are people like you out there who are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much more we can say without exercising it ourselves, right? Like you did it and your transformation happened and you wanted to share it with the world. I did it. My transformation happened. I wanted to share it with the world. And I think women are afraid. Like, do you find that? Do you find moms are afraid to give into saying, I need some help or I can't do it all or any of that stuff, right?
Yeah, there's so many things that come up in my head as you're speaking. Fear, I think it is. Facebook, for as great as it is, like when we're able to do this. You're in New York, I'm in Canada, that we can connect like this. But Facebook can be one of the worst things ever. I read recently that there was a study done, a closed study with people, and they had them, one group not be on Facebook, the other group be on Facebook.
Yep.
And they came out at the end of it saying that it led to depression. Like when you're seeing all of these fake,
Yeah.
like I'll be like, I just went on there and said, hey, Instagram, but I put a filter on that, but I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah.
But there's lots of times I'm on Instagram stories and I'm just like, just bare naked, like not bare naked, good Lord, like no makeup on.
Yeah.
You know
I do
what
that all the time.
Who gives a shit? So
Right.
I think what happens is when we always put these fake book falsies or this falsehood or this, facade on, everybody thinks everybody's life is so great, but it's not. What happens is, everybody has a shit show to some degree.
Of course.
I tell everybody, some women will say, oh, well, I don't really have a shit show. And I said, well, then you're lying. Because
Right.
what happens, you all have a shit show to a varying degree, just some are better than hiding it than others.
Yeah.
So I think when moms want to start to step out, and start to take the time to get towards moving their shit show to their mojo, I have a top 10 free checklist, that of just my basic steps that I've gone through. But I think one of the most important is deciding that it's time to change.
Yep.
Because you can share your message, Krista, and I can be on my end and I can be sharing my message. But if it falls on deaf ears, or if, I have women who come in and say, I'm ready. And a week after, we've lost that gusto and things have gone. And my favorite quote, that I kind of jar my mamas with is by Robin Sharma. And he says, don't live the same year 75 times and call it a life. Okay.
I just used that quote at my father's funeral in my eulogy.
Yeah.
Like, I love that quote so much. I love it so much because it's so true. It's
and my
so
apologies
true.
for your loss, Krista.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm like, whatever.
No, I know, but I don't want it to go by without saying it.
Oh, thank you.
So, but it's true. And I think that what happens in motherhood is that we get stuck in this rut and in this funk, and we think, I can't get out. So the first thing I tell moms is decide that it's time. Just get a grasp on what maybe is working for you and then what is not.
Right.
And then when you have figured out what is not working for you, let's take those baby steps to change it. Now, we don't go from laying on the couch to running marathons in a day. So why do we think that we have to change everything all at once in one day? Yeah. We don't. The key is in the consistency. So what you want to do is do it just one day at a time.
Yeah.
Just plug along and decide that when I want to change, this is what I want or need to change the most. Just pick one.
Yep.
If we start to do it, we get an overwhelm and then, we break down.
Yeah.
Decide you want to do it one day at a time and then 1 foot forward, Mama. 1 foot forward at a time. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the best advice because, as women, I'm a type A control freak. I like to be organized. I like to have my things. I like all the stuff. And my breaking point was I realized I can't do all of this by myself. And I actually have to break down and say, hey, I need some help here, dudes. I can't have 2 kids and a full-time job and a husband with a full-time job and daycare and babysitters and school and all the stuff. And then, maintain my household and maintain my kids and go to soccer practice and drop them off and pick them up and do all the stuff without anybody helping me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you get to that point and you realize it's either make or break. And I find that that's when people are ready to move to the next level, or they just go to bed and don't get up. I don't know.
Right. I like how you say that, to enlist some help. So another tip of the top 10 that I give to moms is to surround yourself with dreamers and doers. Because sometimes we have to kind of do a checklist, mental checklist. I say, if you want to write it out, you go ahead. But you do a mental checklist of the people who deplete you on a daily basis. Now, some of those people live in your home, which is a little harder to do than if people are at your workplace. But you don't, like I say, you don't have to go on Facebook and announce it. We are no longer friends. you're cut off, right?
Oh, right.
We don't have to
Right.
do that, but just less and less time with these people, and then surround yourself. And again, the beauty of Facebook is that you can be in a community, or you can be connected with people who have bigger dreams or push you to
Yep.
get off the couch or get out of bed, or, whatever it may be. But you really have to stop and think, who do I spend the most time with in a day?
Mm-hmm.
And are they feeding my passions, my
Yep.
purpose, my soul, my wants? And if not, tweak it, right? It's all about taking 100% responsibility of your life. This is where we start when things, go down on the Mama Mojo. So we can play the blame game, and we can make excuses, or we can just band together and take some action. And that is really what I want to see for moms, is that they are out there surrounding themselves with beautiful people and beautiful messages, and making those simple changes one day at a time with that desire to change. And we can, as mothers, we can move mountains. Think about all the things that we do. We run households, we run jobs, we literally run jobs sometimes.
Yes.
We take care of everyone in our family. We are caregivers. We are there for everyone. And what we need to start doing, please, mamas, is start showing up for yourself. Like you were just talking about the plane and traveling and stuff. There's a reason why they say put your own mask on first before helping somebody else.
Yeah.
Because if you are not, think about it, if you don't have your health, your sanity, your mental health, your wits, just everything about you, are you the best version of a mother for your child? No.
Right.
You're not. So be the role model that they need, they want, they crave. They just need your time. They just need your love. And that's a whole other thing about, cell phones and all the stuff.
Well, yeah.
That's a whole other ball of wax. But
Yeah.
I think what happens is, because if we can change a mom, I like to use this analogy. If we change a mom, it's almost like when you throw a stone in the water and the ripples, right, will pop out from it. So if we can change a mom in the hub of a home, then we can change her children. And because I'm an educator and professor by trade, I'm very passionate about raising children that give back to our community.
Of course.
So when you said, that woman would apologize for her son's behavior on the plane, fix the behavior. Sorry, they're children.
Right.
And if shit goes sideways on the plane, it, like you said, it happens. But there's no way in shape or form am I patting the palm of the dude next to me with some mints and a note. Anyway. Right. But you know what I mean? But, if we can change that mom, it goes to our children. And when we raise our beautiful children, then, our self and what we're doing benefits our where we work. It benefits our community. Yeah. And it just is that ripple effect. If we change a mom, we can change a child, and we can change the world. And I know that's such a trite expression at the end, but it's really simply true. It's true.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. There's not one word that you just said that I don't disagree with. Yeah. And I think that, and it all goes back to, mindset and self-care and self-love and all the stuff. And I just wrote a book. And part of the book is inclusive of, all the relationships that we have in our lives. And there are so many. And when I started writing this book, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not thinking about my relationship with my friends. Yeah. I'm not thinking about my relationship with my parents. I'm not thinking about my relationship with, people I see on the street or whatever, or the teachers at school or whomever, the people that are in my life. And so that was very uncovering to me. And there's a whole section, because I was like, you know what? My coaching starts with yourself. It all starts with communication and relationships. And then it moves into the parenting aspect and the whole thing. But it's like, you have to be able to have a really good relationship with yourself before you can have a relationship with anybody else. Be as successful as you deem it in your brain. I'm not saying you have a shitty relationship. I'm not saying that you're failing at your parenting. I'm not saying any of those things. But when you get down to it and you really start uncovering and peeling back the onion, it's like, have I been spending time on myself? as mothers and as women, 90% of the time we are giving, and we're typically not taking. And we feel guilty about asking. First of all, why are we asking for it? Because that's ridiculous. And expecting that it's okay. I don't like, to me, it makes sense in my brain. And I know to a lot of women out there, it doesn't. They look at me like I'm nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I often ask my moms, I say to them, would we ever, in that morning routine that we have with our children, would you ever bend down to your son or daughter and say, now you have a great day at school, sweetheart. Make sure not to put yourself first. Do everything for others. Share your lunch. Give it away. Don't play any games that you want to. Just, do that. And it's a rhetorical question. People are like, obviously not. I would never do that to my child. Then why, as moms, are you showing that in your actions every day?
Right.
If you never take time for yourself as a mom, what message do you think you're delivering your children? That you are not worthy, that you are not worth the time away. They will survive. Gloria Gaynor sang it. I will survive, and so will they when you are not there, right?
They always do.
Yeah. So empower your children to be without their mother at some point in their life. Yeah. And, like if that means a weekend away, right? Or if that means attending an event or whatever it may be, to fill yourself up, because you might think you're doing them a disservice by, being away, but I really think it's the opposite. I really honestly do. So yes, my son has, over, the past 6 years that I've been working on my own shit show and then helping other mothers, he has cried and said, Mama, please don't go. Right. And in March, I spoke on stage at the Mompreneur Conference in Toronto, and 300 women are there, and I see this little person go along the back of the room, and I called him in, and he was very shocked, and I said, this is why Mama sometimes has to go on calls at bedtime. This is why Mama sometimes has to travel, because I am helping every woman in this room, right? And it was a very tearful moment. I've never had the chance to actually show him that. He's 7, right? He just thinks Mommy's on her computer the whole day. Because they can't differentiate work. But that's the thing. And as mompreneurs, if you want to make your dreams come true and leave a legacy for your children, it's going to take time away from them, and it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I believe that too. I mean, I've been leaving my children since my oldest, who's 11 now, he was 18 months. I think he was 18 months the first time I left, like for a girls' trip. Yeah. I was like, I'm out for the weekend. See you later, boys.
Exactly.
And I've been doing it ever since. And I just came back from Texas. I was in Texas for 5 days, and my husband was home with the boys. And Will said to me this morning, he was like, Wyatt made his own lunch 4 days in a row. Everybody, there is not 1 ounce of me that doesn't think that they can't do it. Not one. And I'm like, somebody calls and is like, who's got the boys while you're away? And I'm like, they have a father, and he is probably more capable sometimes than I am. So why would that even be a question? Like, they're fine. Are they okay? I don't know. I called them and said goodnight. I'm sure they're fine. Like, nobody called me and said something was broken or bleeding or dying. Or, in fact, I walked out of the house on Saturday morning. I left a cup of children's Motrin because my little guy, my 5-year-old, had 102 fever, and I had a plane to catch. I put the cup on the side table, and I said to my husband, when he wakes up, feed him the Motrin. He's got 102 fever. See ya on Wednesday.
Yeah. It's funny. I just saw something go through my Instagram feed the other day, and it said, it's not called, when the dad's at home, it's not called babysitting, it's called parenting.
Yes.
And the thing is that there are 2 parents. And you know what is lovely about that is when I'm away, my son gets a whole different experience with my husband.
Yes.
Right? Whereas I'm the nurturer and we read and we draw. My husband will take him out and go do physical things and hiking and whatever it may be. It's a great dynamic. It's and it's great also for your children to spend time with the other parent one-on-one. And I just, especially if you're a mompreneur, and I don't necessarily, a lot of my moms have gotten their shit together and then gone on to be mompreneurs.
Right.
But I'm really about this, stay at home, part-time worker. I'm in a funk.
Right.
My children have left the nest. I'm a grandma, like any kind of just in a funk mom. And we've all been there, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. It happens.
Yeah. And we go through it. I think once you can go through it on multiple levels, right? I can assure you that when my kids leave the nest, maybe I'll throw a party. Maybe I won't. It's so far away from now that it's like I can't even.
Exactly.
But, it's like I know people who, did it. Like there are different pockets of our lives when we have different feelings and different emotions, and we feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I can do it. Maybe and I feel like we kind of just need the voice in the back of our heads to be reassuring instead of, you're right, you can't do it. My least favorite word on the planet is the word can't.
Right.
I don't believe in it. I don't like the word. Whenever one of my kids is like, I can't do this, I'm like, nope, that's not the right. Maybe we're having a challenge getting it done, but we are going to make this finish, and we're going to find a way to make it happen. There's no I can't in this house. There's no
right.
Yes, you can do it. You can do it. We're all going to do it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I just saw that Dana said good morning. I just wanted to say hi to Dana. And if you have any questions while you're here, ladies, make sure to pop them up on the screen. Or if you're a mompreneur and you want to know some tips on how Krista and I get loads of shit done in a week, because we do. It's all about the scheduling. I'll just preamble that. I have a scheduling Sunday. So I have a I have an AM routine, I have a PM routine, and Sundays I have a routine. So it's what happened was a lot of my moms will come to me and they say, I'm so busy. And moms love the busy word, right? Yeah. We kind of wear it, and I say sometimes like a badge of honor. I'm busy.
Are you really busy? Or are you being productive?
And the thing is that we're all busy, but we all have the same amount of hours in a day as like Oprah, right?
Yes.
And she gets an enormous amount of work done, and so can we. Now I know Oprah has people and all that stuff, but let's just think about this. Let's break it down. I read an amazing book called, I was going to show it to you, but it's called Intentional Living by John Maxwell. Now, John Maxwell, I had the pleasure of seeing in Vegas along with Jack Canfield, Lisa Nichols, and Robin Sharma one day. And it was the best 5 days ever, away from my family. I was in Vegas. Right. It was okay. But John Maxwell talks about being intentional with your time. Right. And so we all have time, but how intentional are you with this? Right? On Facebook, Candy Crush, whatever the hell else, Pinterest. I don't even go on Pinterest. It's a vortex. I will get lost. So I just don't do it. Right. So Sundays, what I do is I sit down and I was coaching all my moms over these years. And I went back to them. I said, listen, of all the time saving hacks that I've shared with you, what are the best 3? And I have them. If you go on my website, it's a freebie, it's a download, but I'll talk to you about one of them. And it's about scheduling Sundays. Okay. So I will often pop into my Facebook group and I'll do this live with my moms, because I set aside about 15 to 20 minutes every Sunday night after my little guy goes to bed. I sit in my office where I am now, and I go through my planner, and I have a paper planner. I do also use my alerts on my phone. But when there's something very psychological and cognitive wise, you retain better when you actually put something, when you actually hold something in your hand and write it down, right?
Yep. I'm a writer. I do.
Yeah, I love writing. So take a paper planner and actually map out your week, because we think we have no time. But when you break it down like I do, you have more free time than you think.
You do.
Now it's about what you do with that time that will make or break your camp chaos, as I call it sometimes in homes, or if you're a mompreneur, about hitting a goal that you want to hit in the week, right? And then sometimes as mompreneurs, we have so much that we want to do because we're ADD, right? Our heads are always spinning. We always have fresh and innovative ideas. But what you need to do is just don't context switch, right? Don't get that squirrel syndrome. Just concentrate on one until it's done and then move on to the next. And imagine if you did even one big thing a month, by the end of 12 months, where would you be as a mompreneur, right? So just breaking it down into things that are non-negotiable. So I highlight write down all of my things that are non-negotiable. So if that's a job for moms, if that's appointments for mompreneurs, if it's your children's activities for the week, those are non-negotiable. They can't be changed. They're set in stone. You're good to go. The next thing you want to do is talk about those things that you have on your to-do list. I like to call it a dump list. And all of those things that you want to get done in that week. And you have to really be essential and intentional, with that time so that you can block it in and get it in there. Okay. So if you want to spend a half an hour on writing a blog post, if you want to spend an hour on getting your groceries, like I have some moms who go to the grocery store every day. I'm like, what the hell is happening here?
No.
We cannot be going to the grocery store every day, right? No. We can't be vacuum cleaning every day. Like, what the hell? So anyway.
And who wants to? Not me.
We will never have
the shoe store every day.
Housekeeping magazine.
Right.
And it's okay, right? Lego and Barbies will take over your life, and it's okay. Yep. But, so all of those things that you want to get done, schedule in that time. Now, that's a little bit more flexible because things come up as a mom. We all understand that. Sure. And so sometimes have to be shift. Dana says it's crazy. Is that your life that's crazy?
So I'm going to tell you who Dana is.
Talk to me, Dana.
The last 5 days. She's my book publisher, but she also has 3 kids. And talk about crazy. Can't even she's got 3 kids. They're all over the map because they're older and they're teenagers and they're going all over the place. So she got one in college, one going away to college. It's the end of school almost in Texas. So they're getting ready to finish. And she's, hiring authors, myself and a bunch of other people to publish, and she's publishing, then she's producing TV shows, and she's got a lot of stuff going on. And when I look at I'm going to tell you this, when I look at myself, I'm like, I'm not nearly as busy as she is, and I feel like I'm getting a lot done. And she's lapping me. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I can't.
Good job, Dana.
None.
Yeah. So Dana obviously has a system, and that's what a mom needs to know is that once you have your non-negotiables, once you have your to-do list things scheduled on your, on your planner, then you need to make time for yourself. I'm all about the reward system. So when you actually get something done, you reward yourself. Now, it doesn't have to be a trip to Disney, but it can be a mani-pedi. It can be, I love to go by a local store or shop that we have here. They have amazing food, and I get a salad to go, and I sometimes will just sit there and eat in my car.
I'm like, chocolate comes to mind.
Oh no, so I'm okay with chocolate. It can sit on my counter for months. But what I do is I really was intentional with everything I did. I planned it out. I got shit done, and now there's a reward. You're mentally training yourself to do and take the action, and then get rewarded for it. And then once you keep doing it, you'll become that action taker. You'll get that done. So there's lots of different hacks and stuff that you can do, but I really encourage everyone to take the time and just sit down. I also get my moms to do, how many hours are you spending on this thing?
Are they being honest?
Well, just be honest with yourself. You can lie to me. I don't really care, but be honest with yourself. And if you're on this thing 24/7, I can't even talk about this because I will go literally off on a shit tangent. Yeah. I will go crazy. Right. You have to your kid just wants your time. Get your face out of this, and your kids will too. Because as an educator, I teach high school and university students. And this is all. This is it. This is all you see.
It makes me crazy.
And I'm like, where are you learning that behavior? Your mom and dad. Okay. So I digress. Sometimes we have to be on our phone, but we really want to. It's a great thing that we have here being a mother, right? We have an awesome responsibility, and it's the most rewarding job we could ever have in the world. Yeah. It doesn't have to be overwhelming and encompass everything that you do. You can still be a mom, a great one, and still have your passions and fulfill those in your daily life. And that's what I really encourage for moms out there.
I love it. And I agree 100% with all of it. So now tell us, because our half hour is up. So tell us where we can find you. Tell us about your fashion challenge that I'm dying to know more about, because the fashionly challenged. Oh, it's Dana. In fact, Dana has a thing to go to, and she's like, I need some clothes. So maybe, Dana, you should join Lori Joy's challenge.
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook at the Mojo Mama. The has to be in there, or else you get some restaurant in Mexico, I think it is. I don't know what's going on. And one day I'll go. The Mojo Mama will go to the Mojo Mama restaurant. Okay, I'll do a live from there. You can also find me on Instagram too at the Mojo Mama. You can grab some Instagram stories from there. You can see the real me and what really happens backstage. Now I do have a 5-day fashion challenge. We're on day 4. And what it is really about is my purpose is masked in clothing and makeup this week, just for tips for moms. So I have an expert stylist who literally you can hire her. Krista, get a hold of this. You can hire her. She comes to your home, or she does it virtually, and she will pick out and make 25 outfits out of your own clothing. Out of your closet. She tells you the staples you need to have in your house as a mom, all this stuff, right? And then I have a professional makeup artist. So any of those pictures, when you go to my Instagram or Facebook, I don't look like this or that every day. I look like this.
Stop it.
She makes me look gorgeous. And she's with us this week talking about just how to make your 5-minute face and get out of the house. So if you go to the Facebook page that I talked about, the Mojo Mama, you'll see a link in the cover photo where you can join. It's free. All of the stuff is still in there. Doesn't matter when you come in. Just come on over and we'll help you look good. And it's really about what I want to do is make moms look good so you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good.
You do. I love it. That's a beautiful message. This was such a good conversation. We're gonna have to come back.
Let's do it.
So thank you for being here. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. We have a bunch of people on who did not say hello, so I don't know who you are, but thank you for being here.
Thanks.
All the links for Lori Joy's stuff are in the comments, so please feel free to reach out to her, join her fashion challenge. I know she has a lot of awesome stuff on her website and also in her Facebook page. So do it. Go over there and learn more about her, because she's a great, great person, and she's got a really great message, and I love all of it.
Thank you.
Next week, we have a show next week. I don't even know what day it is. I'm so backwards right now. I'm like, what the day is it? Next week we have a show, and then I go to Florida because I'm going to a mom summit down there for mom bloggers, which I'm super excited about.
Nice.
And tomorrow, you guys, I'm going to do a live because I want to catch everybody up on my trip to Texas and the crazy place that I stayed, because it was like the Kevorkian clinic almost. It was so crazy. Dana knows because she was with me.
Oh, funny.
And, so I have a bunch of really funny stories. I'm going to turn it into a blog post, but I want to tell you about it too, because I didn't do any of I usually do a live every day at 1:30, and I didn't do it because we were too busy working. Okay, so thanks everybody for watching. You stay right here.
Okay.
We'll see you guys back here tomorrow and next week. Mwah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.